Welcome to the Night Before Reset, the only WoW Classic podcast which has more hosts than viewers. The podcast is strictly a TBC podcast, for the time being at least, but when we get the inevitable Classic Plus announcement, we will slowly transition over to Classic Plus only content, because I'm fairly sure this handsome bunch of gentlemen are as hyped for Classic Plus as I am, and as probably you are. So this is the first episode, so the whole panel of hosts are here with me at the moment, and going forward, every Monday you can expect to see like a nice rotation. Trying to keep it to 3 or 4 people, possibly a guest if we feel like we need a guest, but it won't be the same 4 people every week. Sometimes I'll be here, sometimes I won't. Same goes for everyone else. So first, I want to go round the huge table of people to get a bit of an intro to them so you know who you're listening to. So what I'm going to do is just pretend you've got a mic that you're physically going to pass to the person next to you. So I'll go first. So my name's Scottejaye. I'm one of the 8 hosts of the podcast, where you should, over the next few weeks, start to see a lot of content coming out from this podcast as well. That's kind of the aim. So you'll see it on all of our platforms, not just mine, not just Jerome's, not just NoHitJerome, like all of them. They're going to be posting this like mad, hopefully, shorts, full podcast, clips out of it, whatever else. So, obviously I've made classic content for, 6 years, since 2019, 7 years nearly. I kind of don't know anything else at this moment in time. And in terms of what I play, I'm a Feral Druid main and a Prot Paladin main as well. I actually raid in 2 different guilds, so they're both technically my main. That's it. I want to keep it nice, short and sweet, because you probably have seen most of us at some point or another. So I'll hand over to Hammer.
Yo. I am Hammer Dance. You guys probably know me as the GDKP guy. I am constantly talking about GDKPs because I love and miss them very much. I've been making content for the better part of like 10 years at this point, but I just, in the last 3 years, started making classic WoW content. I am definitely a classic player through and through. Don't really dabble in retail too much. I main a warrior, most of the time Fury. Although recently there's been some changes in my guild. I am going to be one of our main tanks going forward throughout the rest of the Burning Crusade. So I'm excited to kind of learn a part of Warrior, that I've never done before. I just love Classic. I love making the content, and I'm super excited for Classic Plus. So that's pretty much all there is for me. Mintzy, over to you.
My name's Mintzy. I also play Warrior, but I play a Split, which is a Warlock, and it's used for speedrunning. So, like, every 3 weeks, we do, like, a get-together of the more geared players, because we do splits, and then we give a speedrun attempt. Pretty much all I do is just play that. Then I have an enhancement shaman I also play on Sunday. So I just raid all the time. This is like the only day I don't raid. But yeah, just enjoy playing the game. I'm going to send it on over to Go.
Yo, I'm a Boomkin. That's all I play. I don't have alts of other classes. Any alts that I ever make is just another druid. I've gotten up to, I think, 4 druids max level in Wrath. Right now I'm chilling. I only have 1. My second one's level 60, 67, pretty much. So I'm working on my first alt finally. I feel like I'm behind. But yeah, just classic player. Haven't played retail since WoD, original WoD. And I hope that WoD never comes back. I hope MOP is the end of that version of classic. I played a little bit of MOP, but mainly right now it's just been anniversary waiting for that Classic Plus. McNulty, over to you, bro.
Thanks, go. Hi guys, I'm McNulty. Honestly, I play every version of WoW I can get my hands on. Basically, I just play a priest in most of them. I do like to play multiple classes, but over on YouTube, you'll see that I'm mostly just a priest player. I do dabble in some naughty servers. I'm currently in TBC. I'm running a guild where we're pretty casual. Spent a little bit of time in the PTR this week. And yeah, cool. Perry, over to you, mate.
Yo, I am PokePerry. I've been playing just classic WoW for the past like 20 years. I played a little bit of retail here and there, dabbled a little bit. Not really a fan of it. And I've been making content. I don't know if anyone's probably seen it, but the past like 2 months, we've been just blasting a bunch of WoW videos, a lot of discussion type stuff on my channel. And I've really been liking what I'm doing. So that's kind of all I have here. I'm kind of new in the scene, but we'll pass it off to Tello over here.
What's up, amigos? It's your boy Tello. Back to you another one. It's not my video, but it's a beautiful podcast with a lot of sexy gentlemen here. A lot of people call me the White S fan, but I do heal in Crusade as well because I'm a holy paladin there. Usually, I'm a rep paladin from Season of Discovery. I did a lot of content back in the day there. It was a good time. And now I also play a rogue in Hammer Dance's guild as well. It's been a fucking crazy experience there. No DST for 13 weeks. Probably gonna not play the game anymore, but we'll see what happens. And I will. But outside of that, yeah, I play 2 characters a week, double raids, and it's very fun, I must say. I'm having a good time. Outside of that, I'll pass it to no sexy Jerome over here with the green screen.
Yo, what's up? I'm Jerome. My guild basically just disbanded due to my poor leadership, and so that's kind of where we're at right now. And seeing what else I can destroy in the next couple days and weeks. So maybe this podcast.
Possibly. All right. Well, thanks, guys. There was some very varied intros. I'll say that. All right. So what we're going to do is just go over the PTR in general to begin with. So what we done. So rather than diving into the sort of nitty gritty, because we will get into that later on, just a bit around the table on how many clears you've done, if you've done full clears, what your experience was like. I'm kind of just gonna mimic exactly what NoHitJerome says anyway, so there's not really much need for me to say anything because all of the testing I've done was with him. So I'd rather you listen to his sexy Irish accent than mine. But let's go with Mintzy. So Mintzy, what I know you've done a lot because I was watching you do a lot. But go
on. Well, I guess I did 2 full clears, and then I did what did we do Saturday? That was to Leo, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
I think so, something like that. I noticed melee, it feels like AQ again. In comparison to classic, where mechanics start stepping up in melee. But other than that, it boss fights just felt I don't know, way easier than the trash. But I did three full clears because I did another clear on a warlock off stream. I don't know. It didn't feel necessarily too bad. It felt like you needed a little bit of coordination with Vosh.
Coordination. That's a great new word. Can I claim
you.
that?
No, that one's a me special. It just, I don't know. It felt like a few extra hours off raiding for a week or 2, and then you're fine. I don't know.
Wait, what classes did you clear on, Mintzy?
Warrior and a warlock. I never had to tank Leo. We always had a prop paladin do it. Although, I think on Saturday there was a lock that was tanking it, right? I think that was the only one.
Stark was tanking. Well, Stark tried tanking it, but I ended up getting aggro and dying, didn't I? Anyway, as the prop paladin. So.
Yeah, and then we had a prop paladin last night tried out where he went really low res, like 130, and didn't have a totem, and was good basically up until the last second, and we were able to squeeze by. But that run, we weren't allowing people to get any tier 5 items and stuff like that. I saw Zaki had his fucking Talon, dude. I swear.
Yeah, he wasn't the only one.
As I logged in, I was like, oh my god, you guys are using the T5 stuff already. That's crazy.
I didn't think it was something that needed to be said, I'll be honest with you. When people started turning up in tier 5 gear, I was like, why would you do that? But yeah, it's like I say, a warrior thing. Two of the 3 warriors I inspected were using Talon and DST when I raid with them both, and no, they definitely haven't got DST, and nor will they probably get it. And they definitely haven't got a tier 5 weapon. Cool. Hammer, what about you? What did you get done? Go, I'm assuming you've not been on the PTR the weekend. You done one last night,
I did
actually,
last
didn't you?
night, yeah. I went
You
with
did?
Jerome.
Well, go on, we'll go with you. Go with you next.
Yeah, it took us, I think it was 3 hours, maybe it was 4 hours. I don't remember, 3 or 4 hours to full clear Tempest Keep with random pugs. McNulty came in for Alar and then went to bed. Without his healing, we might have struggled on Alar. Every single pull that we did, something changed. Alar would go to its quill phase 1 round early. It wouldn't make it all the way around the room before he went up. So that caught us off guard, and we wiped. A couple other issues, but we worked it out. And Jerome, amazing raid leader, the best raid leader that I could have asked for PTR. everybody was like, "You're never gonna clear with Jerome," and I was like, "Guys, Jerome's a Chad. He's gonna lead us to victory." We did have another boomkin that was helping raid lead a lot, Boo Meta or something. That guy he knew his shit. He was figuring it out. He was remembering things from the last go around to TBC. But I loved it. I loved the bosses. I loved the trash. I was in there pumping. I was that dick that came in there with the key or whatever it is, like my tier 5 weapon. I had my staff. Hell yeah. Fuck that. I need that spell power. I need to pump and try to top the meters. So didn't get into
And
SSC though.
Did you pump
Yeah,
and top the meters?
dude, I was top 5 every single trash pack. I was top 5 every single boss pool. I was cranking.
God, there must have been some really bad players in that group.
Oh, I was calling them all shit. I was like, dude, where's the melee at? Where's the hunters at? Come on, guys.
Cool. Hammer, what
Yeah,
about
I
you?
love
What
it.
did you get done?
I actually haven't gotten a chance to get on the PTR at all this weekend. I wasn't around, but I did watch a really good bit of Jerdy's second run and Jerome's run. And from watching Jerome's point of view, it made me really, really happy that I decided to go tank this phase instead of playing Fury, because it looked like an absolute nightmare to be playing Fury. So I don't know if you want to let me in on a little bit of your experience playing Fury there, Jerome.
Well, I would say it's weird. SSC is like insanely good for Fury, other than like Leo Theris and some of the fights. But TK feels like you don't want to be playing melee so much. Like I switched to Arcane Mage and TK, and it was like instantly just like this is the right class for this raid. So I would bet that somebody that's like better at melee, because I got a lot of blowback. I made a video about how melee was kind of having a rough time in phase 2 or will, and a lot of people were just trashing me. They don't want to hear that, and that's fair. But I do think it's a huge step up. Like Mintzy said, it's like AQ. It's like you have to actually know what you're doing. You can still stay alive, but if you want to actually do damage, you have to be pretty good.
Yeah, see, whereas I said the exact opposite in a video today. I just think every boss in tier 5 is basically a moving patchwork. Like, but it's all I know. When it comes to tier 5, all I know it as is melee DPS. So, it's like I don't think about it. Whereas I actually found it, no, I'm not going to say challenging, but, there was a learning curve to tanking it, because I'd never tanked tier 5 before outside of Hydros. I was, as a feral druid, sometimes I'd have to tank the nature phase of Hydros. But then I was just DPS for everything else. So me personally, I kind of just switched my brain off as melee. But I know what you're saying. Like, the whirlwinds on Leo are a bit annoying. There's a lot of having to move. That's why I say they're just basically patchwork fights with a little bit of movement, which, on the basis you don't have to move for anything really in tier 4, that's probably why melee will struggle. But just my opinion. But yeah, NoHitJerome, go on, you tell them what we've done, because it depresses me still now.
What we done in the PTR? Well, we just rocked in. We did first night we got up to Leo Theris, and then the next night we came in after raid. We had an hour or two. We killed Vash and then went and killed Alar. For me, I went on the healer priest, because me and Scott were actually talking about healers for about 6 hours that day, and I really wanted to play healer priest, because I actually played shadow priest the entire way through PTR practice, because our guild needed a shadow priest, because unlike Jerome's runs, we try and make a group that makes sense, right? But then I went to Jerome's run as a priest, and I was one of 3 holy priests. We had one resto shaman, who, by the way, was the only resto shaman, which every group had assist, and was fighting over the shaman for about an hour. And then, I got a bit healing in, I got a bit shadow priest in. But I'm actually the guy that's going to sit here and cry on about pre-nerf. Tier 5 is one of my favorite tiers. And what I really loved about especially SSC was, like the whole tank synergy, especially with the trash, where like you've got your AoE paladin, you've got your threat burn, you've got your like maybe warrior or other bar takes stuff away. And about 30 seconds into PTR, Scotty goes, can the other tanks just go DPS? You're making this really hard for me. And I was like, oh. He literally was just like, you guys are making it harder. Just let me tank everything and go away. I was like, okay, and it worked. It was 100%. We had no issues with that at all. But I'll be the guy on this podcast today being like, but it used to be harder,
No, you're right. You're right, though. And it was 100% making it more difficult. It was like, well, just put all the healing on one tank and keep everything together so they can get seeded, rather than trying to do it properly. Do it. You basically told us to do it properly. And I was like, fuck that.
Yeah,
Why do we want to do
I
things
love that
properly?
dance with the tanks, you know. So I'm a little bit let down by that, but overall, I still love Tier 5. Tier 5 is great. I had a cracking weekend, and I'm looking forward to getting in and yeah, doing it properly on actual live because we all had a bit too much gear. We'll go in there. I think there's going to be a lot more one shots and stuff, you know.
Yeah. So Jerome, you was making some demon pugs. Go on, tell us about them.
Oh, I made the most demonic pugs. I had like 8 warriors in some of them. I had like 9 healers in one, which actually, apparently it's good. Like it seemed like it worked out because there's no DPS checks really, except Vash. So yeah, I mean, I love doing a demonic pug any day of the week. 5 tanks sometimes. You just, mix it up. And we were still getting through stuff. I did a 5-hour run. I probably did like 25 hours of PTR. I did a 5-hour run where all we got to was Lurker. We never got past Lurker. And that was good. It was good. I learned a lot, let me tell you. And yeah, it was good.
That was good. How can you say that was good with a straight face?
We learned. We did like 10 attempts on.
7th wife on Alar. We got this, guys. We got this.
I think we did 6 pulls on Alar or 7. It was actually like, and by the end of it, we really knew every mechanic. Like we learned a ton. So it was great. I just love learning. It's good.
Yeah, and that's true. Like you do learn far more from a wipe than just going in and one-shotting it and being like, anyone know what happened there? No, it's true. Like, I'd still rather not. I'd rather learn nothing and just go in and one-shot everything. Just me. Perry, what about you? Did you get a chance to go on there?
I have not, but judging from what you guys have been saying, I probably am going to swap from Enhanced Shaman over to my Holy Paladin. I don't know. It just seems like everyone's saying melee definitely is taking I guess you're getting knocked down a peg, and you got to really know your shit to actually DPS, right?
Yeah, I'd still rather DPS it than heal it.
Easy.
Yeah.
Would you say no? What you say again?
Just learn your shit, Enhanced Shaman was great in Tier 5.
Yeah, enhance.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll still play it. I love DPS, but at least I do have a Holy Paladin I could heal on if I want to.
Yeah, fair enough. And Tello, what about you? What did you do?
So I didn't have a chance to get into it, but I had the pleasure of watching Juridy's run. I had the pleasure of watching Jerome's run. I think Jerome screaming during the whirlwinds at Leo was absolutely amazing. And I had the pleasure of watching Simonize a lot because I've been playing a rogue, and that's what I was a little concerned more about because with rogue you could do some cheeky things, and during rules you can cloak of shadows, the stomp, so you can get out of the way more than everybody else. It's the one benefit of like being a rogue that you could cheese a mechanic. It's kind of like paladins being able to cheese mechanics with a bubble, the usual. But I didn't get to get into the PTR, but I'm sure when I do get in there, the biggest concerns for me is just making sure that I can do the mechanics properly. And as a melee DPS, that's something that I have to watch out because it's more of the trash packs really in SSC and TK that are more of the concern for me, more than the actual bosses themselves. Because once you get it down, even after a wipe, it seems, everybody knows their stuff. You pay attention, you lock in, and everybody's going to just, tank and spank it at that point. But I will say Vosh, when I was watching her on Jerome's run, I do think the poisons and the root, because you could cloak it once as a rogue, but then after that, you really got to watch your positioning on those puddles. So I think that right there is going to be the one that makes it, breaks it for melee people. And I do understand what McNulty's saying as in terms of like wanting the pre version of, SSC and TK instead of it being easier, just a bit harder because it is enjoyable. Like the phase thoroughly, it's more content. You go from phase 1 outside of Kara and just running, especially with how many weeks we've been running already, which is only a week and change faster than the last TBC in fairness. If you look at like the last 2020 or during COVID TBC compared to this one, it's only a little bit shorter. And you look at that fight and everything in phase 1 and how easy everything is. It's a cakewalk. And you go into phase 2, there's something enjoyable about it being a little harder. So I can understand that and I respect that 100%. But I do think the majority of like the casual player base, they're in for a reality check if they're melee DPS, because you went from an entire, how many weeks has it been now? 12, 13 weeks now since we've been logging raids of melee just turning their brain off and asking, when are we getting to Prince? You know what I mean? Like you don't do nothing. The hardest thing in Karazhan easily is the greater flesh beast before Prince, if anything. That's the hardest boss. It's either that or people not knowing how to do the chest vent for some dumb reason. But outside of that, I mean, I think SSC and TK just for melee is a little concern that I have outside of everything.
I failed the chess event 4 times in a row like 2 weeks ago.
I only believe
I
you.
didn't
think
even know it
anyone's
could be
surprised.
failed.
Oh yeah.
I had no idea.
I just thought, yeah, that checks out.
We also tried to strat because I don't really watch the videos on how to do it. So we tried to strat where we had a rogue do chess for a speed run while we were doing Nether Spite, but then that locked him out of Nether Spite, which was really bad. So like I don't know, there's a lot of things to learn still, but
Oh my god.
yeah. And he failed the chess too. He was trying really hard though.
Cool. Okay. So we're going to get back to obviously everything SSC and TK because I'd really like to dive more into a little bit of a conversation around post nerf versus pre nerf because I do think I've got my opinions on it and I don't want to lead the conversation. You know, I just want everyone to just have their say. I do think more people want post nerf than pre nerf. That is just my gut feeling. But you know, it'd be nice to talk about the pros and cons. Like why each one would be a good idea or a bad idea. Because ultimately, if you can do the mechanics, how I see it, if you can do the mechanics on post nerf, up to Vash and KT in both raids, you'll be able to do them on pre nerf. They just take a bit longer, and your healers need to be better than what we had on Saturday. But yeah, we'll come back to everything SSC and TK. First, let's just go over the news. So for anybody that's listening / watching, this is going to be exactly the same every week. I should have went over this at the start, but I'm rubbish. You know, we're always just going to get straight into a little bit about what we've been doing, which we've parked, we've done. Then it's a news recap. So if there's anything worthwhile talking about, blue posts, stuff like that, which we have got good news to talk about, obviously, and then it's the main talking point, which is going to be SSC and TK today. So first of all, the news we've done the PTR, but the real big one is the drop rates being increased. Now I know many of you have done videos about this, if not all of you have done videos about this. So whoever wants to tell, do you want to kick off first? Like what are your thoughts on have they got it right?
I mean, in terms of also like with like the pieces of like raid loot dropping, like one piece increase, I do think that's a general good idea for a lot of people because you have to look at it like if you're going based off of Iron Forge Pro, which everybody in here knows about. I think our grandmothers probably know about it on a wheelchair at this point, and everyone's on that website looking at the logs, and you know, I just feel that everyone is playing alts. A lot of people are playing alts, I feel, more than ever this time around. And you got to think about it like from a business decision from Blizzard's perspective, you know, you're selling the character boost, right? You want people to get involved with TBC. This is a very alt friendly TBC and it has account wide raid attunements. So why are people not going to, you know, get involved and play alts? Because it just gives you more opportunity to just play the way you want to play the game with characters or specs you never even had the chance to play it. So I do think, you know, increasing the loot pool by 1, I think it's a good idea. At this point, I saw what Mintzy said in one of his videos, and it made me think about it, about like the whole badge vendor thing. I don't even care about the badge vendor if they were to do that or not. I'm kind of happy it's just a +1. No matter what, DST and all these exclusive items, they are very important items to the Burning Crusade. My only aspect of looking at things is that there's going to be people that go on weeks and weeks and maybe months on end without ever seeing an item drop that's very important to them. Heck, Hammer can be attesting for this, and Pokey. We haven't even seen a Spike Blade in 13 weeks.
Not one.
I'm not even talking about a DST. I haven't seen an Edge boots from Morose in maybe weeks, ever since one of our hunters got it. There's just items that after a certain point where it's like, man, these items lead into phase 2 being BIS as well. You know, there's items that carry over. And then obviously your DST, you know, your items and even your trinkets from heroic badge vendors that carry into the entire majority of the phases. I think it's a good decision. TLDR, I'm not trying to rant, no matter what, just to increase it by 1. The one thing I'm more curious about, though, outside of phase 2, is what is the phase 3 heroic change with loot drops? Because that's another thing that I feel like they just put there at the bottom of their post. And then they didn't say nothing about it. They said, we'll look into phase 3 heroic drops at a later point. So I'm thinking they're just going to do the same +1 what they're doing to phase 2. Just for phase 3 with heroic dungeons, you're going to get one more piece of loot per boss, and that's it. I think that's what's going to pretty much happen.
Yeah.
But I'll pass it on to whoever wants to.
Yeah, just on that. So, yeah, obviously, it'd be nice if everyone spoke about that. And I'm going to read it out word for word, because what you got to remember in this blue post. So I honestly, and I still do, I think it's a typo. Now, I know we've heard nothing about it since, I know they've said absolutely nothing since. And then they might just look at everybody that's made videos about it, posted about it on X, all that sort of thing, and been like, oh, they thought we was talking about phase 3, so we won't bother doing anything. But if you look at how the post is laid out, they speak about all of the phase 2 loot changes, and then word for word, we will plan to make other phase 3 loot changes to heroic dungeon bosses in phase 3. Like, they've spoke about loot in phase 2, then said we plan to make other, as in it's carrying on. It's like it's as if they'd typed 3 so many times, because Lady Vash will drop 3 tokens, Leo will drop 3 tokens, Fathom Lord will drop 3 tokens. They've written 3 so many times that they've then got to the end, meant to say we'll plan to make other phase 2 loot changes to heroic dungeons in phase 2. It's such a bizarre way. If they really meant phase 3, it's such a bizarre way of wording it, and an even bizarrer thing to include it at the end, in my opinion. But whoever wants to crack on.
No, I don't think so. I honestly think that it's very much a way to just stop us from going on about it. Like, whenever we were all crying about pre-nerf at the launch of TBC, they put a wee line at the bottom saying, "Oh, by the way, we might do pre-nerf in tier 5." But everybody knew that was impossible once they'd done post-nerf, because post-nerf's here, pre-nerf's here, and you want the players to, And I think that they've just added that at the bottom. It's like, look, put that at the bottom. It'll get them to be quiet for a while, and they'll come back to it later. Yes, they're going to come back to the loot, but just acknowledge that we know, and we'll get back to it whenever we can. That's
that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's my question then. If it was a typo, right? What would those changes be? What changes are they going to make to the current, phase 2, the phase that's coming out, that heroic loot? What could that possibly mean? Are they going to put like Kara gear off heroics, or are they going to put badge gear at the end of heroics? Like, what if it was actually a typo and they're talking about phase 2? That would be my question: is what changes would they actually be making to the heroic loot table?
As long as Blizzard don't mention the word Celestial, Twilight, 100% help, I'll probably be happy.
See, I had a kind of a hope before Scotty said that it could be a typo, that I actually was like, it would be really sick if in phase 3 we got, like, I was a big fan of like the Gamma dungeons and all that came in Wrath. Like, I thought it was such an awesome like catch up thing for alts. So that's I'm the complete opposite. Like, I was like pretty stoked. I was like, oh man, if that's what that means, that'll be pretty sick.
Your thoughts, Go, on the Gamma? I know you've done a lot of Alpha, Beta, Gamma during Wrath. Like, is that something you'd like to see in TBC?
So fun.
Leave it in MOP. Give us like the SOD version where we get the token system.
Ooh,
and we can buy this shit. The Real vendor.
That could work
give
too.
Us some sort of shit like that. But yeah, don't add the boss mechanics into the dungeons.
They were good for money.
That was good times inside. Real vendor, man, take me back.
Yeah, like let us buy.
Keeps all content relevant, don't it? That way.
Yeah,
you're right. You're absolutely right.
Shit.
There's a reason to go back into the old raids and actually clear them, and just walk out with some reels, go buy a piece of T2, T3, whatever,
Yeah. Well, I was going to actually bring that up when we were talking about the the additional loot drop for this phase and all that, like, which I think is an awesome thing. But I personally think that it could be even better. Like, I don't see at this point how it would be game breaking or why it would even be a bad thing to bring like the phase 4 changes of like Kara dropping badges and all that stuff. Like, why doesn't Kara just drop badges going into this phase? Like, I just like finished my Paladin, right? I'm going to go prod on my Paladin too. And I'm running Karas, and like the first 2 Karas, I didn't get a single piece of gear. And I'm sitting here like, all right, it would have been sick. Like, if I got badges that whole time, that I could go pick up the shield off the badge vendor, the Libram, all that stuff. I don't really think something like that would be game breaking. And with this version of TBC, they've done a lot of, like we were saying, alt friendly stuff, making it fun to play alts. I feel like not just like, why can't we get badges in Karazhan at this point in time? I don't see how it would be a bad thing. And why we have to wait to phase 4 for it.
Just helps alts, helps people that, come to the game. And ultimately, Karazhan is easier than 5-man heroics, isn't it? For most classes, like, in terms of getting some gear. If you got some badges, so you could get a bit of badge gear before doing 5-man heroics to get more badges. Like, I'm personally all for that.
Dude, yeah, if you're running heroics not with your guild and you are pugging heroics, It is not. I don't think it's fun at all, to be completely honest. It's a complete nightmare for like if you are not like when we did this when we first hit cap, right? And you're doing it all as a guild. You know, you're running with your friends or whatever. It's full guild runs. You're just blasting through these things. And we had no gear, right, at the start of this. And we're still blasting through them. They were hard, but what it was, you know, we're all on Discord. You know, you got through it. If you like level and alt and you're trying to just pug your way through everything, including the raids, it's a completely different ball game. So I feel like having some sort of like bad luck protection like that, like moving those quality of life changes that come in phase 4, moving them up to phase 2, I think it would be better for like the longevity and the overall health of the game. I think it would just add to the alt friendliness and just make it a better experience.
I would do the same with reps. I would make all of the reps account bound. Like, why can't I buy my
reps, yeah.
bar headpiece?
Dude.
Yep.
Ooh,
That was something.
I
yeah,
agree.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Tell.
No, I agree. I'm just whatever you're saying too. Like I feel you because I shared the same sentiment with you, Pokey. We were talking about this.
Buying the keys and all that, like it just to me, if you could walk into Karazhan and no problem, you just hit fresh 70. It's weird to make someone spend like 500 gold on 5 heroic keys to go run the heroics. And I know you could mail the keys back and forth between 5 different characters, but do any of us really want to do that? I don't.
But all it really does is it makes it so people don't do heroics, right? Why wouldn't you just go into the raids?
Yeah.
You just go into Karazhan. Yeah, probably even go into TK with probably blue gear and be okay.
And that's a good point.
Heal, one of Hammer's heroics. You remember when I was like, oh, I gotta go grab the key from my other alt. Sorry, give me 1 second.
yeah, and that's a good point, Jerome. Like I do think a lot of people are skipping heroics, and I actually pretty much did that on my warlock, and I was going to do that on my paladin as well. The only reason I am running heroics on my paladin is to hard res the primal nether for my deep thunder. That's it. If I didn't need that, I wouldn't even be touching heroics.
I think the most for reps, I can only speak about me personally. The most annoying thing is the fact that specifically, let's say for melee, lower city exalted for the ring is almost a requirement. It's like if you want to get your character as well geared as possible, even in phase 2, you're going to want that ring. Having to do that multiple times is not fun. No. Like if you want to go do a rogue, you want a warrior, and then you go, I don't know, feral druid, and you've got to do that 3 times. Like I think account wide reps should be account wide. As simple as that. The enchant, the head enchant, definitely. But I mean, a 21k grind in just running slabs 20 times or 18, 19 times back to back on normal, just like going up to the second boss. I mean, it's hardly riveting content when you've done it once, is it?
Yeah.
It's like. I think that they could do that better.
No, you're absolutely right. Like I agree with you, dude. And I think it's like this. It's not knocking TBC at all in any sense when you talk about things like this, because you're just saying constructive criticism, right? Like it's fun. Like I love doing one of my favorite thing ever, even since vanilla WoW, is dungeoning with the boys. I love that aspect of the game. I think that is the iconic thing since traditional dungeon games back in the day, from even older before, WoW like was a thing. Like you were on arcades doing little, journeys with your friends, dungeoning with the boys. That was always a beautiful thing to do. And I feel like in TBC, it's turned more from like wanting to dungeon with the boys. Instead, it's, let's just go to the raid with the boys. I don't want to do the dungeons, bro. I'm tired of it because I've lived in, Shadow Labs. I've lived in god awful Blood Furnace trying to get a Waste Walker chest piece that never dropped for a rogue, which I'll never do again. I've lived in Old Hillsbrad waiting for something to drop towards the end, never dropped. And other people get more luck and luckier than others, right? Like you get more fortune. But I think the whole TLDR is TBC is great, but there are also some aspects of it during the time when the original developers were there realized that, maybe instead of waiting to phase 4, we should have did that a little bit earlier, And then even down the line with like attunements, and that goes away too, right? So it's like you look at some decisions that even those OG devs back in those days felt like, maybe that wasn't the perfect design at the time, but we still love the product that we put out for the people. And I still love TBC no matter what, even after whatever changes they do, whether it's a +1 loot drop or not. But I mean, Mintzy, you also been grinding dungeons a hell of a lot too. When we were doing the PTR, oh my god, I remember when we were doing the Hell Run with Medina that one night, and that was like I think the one time we played. But I'm curious, like, what do you think about it too? Because you play multiple characters as well, So
See, I've gotten the characters to a point where I just like, raid, just raid on them, just raid on them, just raid on them.
Exactly.
I don't really do. I would do slave pens. I've done slave pens on my shaman literally up until this past week and got like 80 or 90 badges just from slave pen skip runs.
Oh yeah, I
Got
feel
like
it.
5 nethers in the process. Saw 3 healers take the midnight leg guards because they were like, well, it's good for feral when the blue piece of like crafted gear is better. So I like gave up, and then I finally got Skulker, so I literally have 0 point. I have a rogue, but like I don't know. Scott met me when I was a rogue, and I wasn't a great rogue by any means. So like it is painful running dungeons on a class like a rogue. I will say
Oh,
that,
for
or
sure.
any melee warrior. I had to tank basically everything. I had to tank 90%, if not all of my brooch in the beginning of the game because like everyone like just rolled DPS and like the occasional like DPS off spec will have a healer. But I don't know.
I think it's kind of what I'm getting personally, the vibe and how I feel about it as well, to be fair, is that the heroics really in phase 2 should be post nerf.
Yep.
Like, you know, for people to want to
Yeah.
continue to do them and not feel
Yes.
like Mintzy hit the nail on the head and probably didn't mean to, but he's probably doing what the vast majority of people doing. Those easy heroics, slave pens, you know, a quick Orkanai Crypts, a quick Cephalic Halls, you know, the ones that you can just smash through in 15 minutes tops and jobs are good un. Whereas the other ones that people actually need gear from kind of just don't get run enough, which, to be fair, and another little talking point for you, if that was a typo, I know it's probably not, but if it was and they was going to make other changes, what if they actually put the epics from the last bosses from Heroics on a badge vendor? So you could get your tank braces from Alcatraz just from doing the easier Heroics. You could get the belt as a prop pally from Black Morass, for example. You know, what thoughts about that?
That would be sick.
I'd take
if
it a
they
step
put, like-
further and make it BOE. Like let you farm on your main and then give it to your alt ding 70. You just load it up with
BOA.
epics and it's ready for Well, and BOA or just BOE. You could put them on the
Okay.
auction house, sell them. Same with the world boss loot. Just make that shit BOE. I forget what phase they ended up making the boss loot BOE from world bosses, but I've seen one world boss up and the Horde helped the Alliance get the kill, and it pissed me off. And I'm like, screw these world bosses. But it'd be nice to actually see the loot on the auction house or something.
I think I've only seen the world boss once, and S-Fan was trying to gather a full crusade run at 4 a.m. with 60 people. And I think Pico was there and Grayson was there, and I was watching it with my friends in the Discord, and it was an absolute nightmare watching everyone try to get this one tag for one group, by the way. It's one group that can get the role. And I just think, yeah, the world boss situation, in order to even get a world boss even accomplished, I know it's separate from the conversation, but you need a whole Discord of people organized with notifications getting sent out to say, hurry up, wake up. You know, we got to get this organized. I think it's, in Scotty's words, I'll say rubbish. You know, I've never said that word before, but yeah, I think I'll say that for that one for sure. I'm not a big fan of it. But as far as what you're saying with the loot going on a vendor, like that would be awesome. I would love to run dungeons at that point. I would stay grinding and healing because I was trying to get the kilt from Steam Vaults because I was like, oh, I really want that kill. It looks really cool. I want the gems in it. Never dropped. And then we had 2 pieces of blue gear that dropped the other day. I didn't even know that was still a thing. I thought an epic always dropped at the end at this point, but now we're getting double blues. I just went to get the Justicar piece from Raid. I said, screw that. So
yeah,
I'm no longer doing it.
No.
I think the
Imagine
takeaway.
running a heroic. Good.
I was gonna say, I think the takeaway from it is that they've done so much to make this TBC like so much more alt friendly than the last time. But there's like, it's kind of like not like it almost doesn't make sense without some of the other stuff is what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm going to keep going back to the Kara badge thing because there is nothing worse than just feeling like you're wasting time and being rewarded for the time that you put in some way. You know, there is some luck that goes into getting loot drops, but at least being able to get your pre-bis no matter what, whether you get lucky or not, would feel really good to me. I feel like they could take it a little bit further, and phase 2 is like the perfect opportunity to do that. And I would love to. I mean, I don't know if any of you have seen any of my videos, but I would love to see them do that. Like, that is something I would love.
And what Tello said is 100% like on the money. That there is nothing more infuriating than spending, excuse me, let's say you go and do Alcatraz and you're in there for an hour to get it done, and the last boss don't even drop an epic.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, and I see that happen far too often as well, by the way. You know, I've run slave pens multiple times where an epic just hasn't dropped at the end. It's as if the epic gem just replaces the epic item.
It does.
Which,
the epic gem does.
yeah, which
They
is,
should fix that.
yeah, they really should fix that because it's just ludicrous. But yeah, I think a little bit. There's two ways they can go, in my opinion. Again, you can discuss as much or as little as you want, but it is either badges from Kara and post nerf heroics. You know, so you can get through the heroics quite easily every day anyway to get those items from the end that you want. You can get badge gear quite easy because you're going to do Karazhan, you're going to get gear in there, get more badges to be able to buy everything you need from the vendor, or keep the heroics as post nerf but enable you to buy the gear from the last bosses from a vendor, so you can be more picky about what ones your ult that's got practically no gear can achieve.
Yeah,
you know, because if you're an ult in like no gear, no one's. If you're an ult in no gear and you're, let's say, I don't know, an enhancement charm and a feral DPS. Well, enhancement charm is going to have more luck than a feral DPS, but you ain't getting taken to Shattered Halls in a pug.
Yeah,
like you make the group yourself, or you're not getting in. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Whereas if there was something you wanted from Shattered Halls, but you knew you could do a few other heroics each day that you can get in, buy the item from the vendor, like jobs are good. And it's never going to happen. Let's be honest. But you know, Blizzard may listen and think it makes sense.
I mean,
that's my argument for
ahead,
keeping pre-nerf heroics. I know this might be away the other side of it, but what you guys are saying is, especially those 4 hard heroics to get attuned, I feel like you should have. They should be hard enough that you aren't a feral druid looking for a pug, but you're a feral druid looking to reach out to your guild and your friends. And that's my argument to keep them. I like them being hard. And also with the gear, like I still don't have Quags and my Warlock. Like I don't mind that. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like I'm just gonna run probably 12 more slave pens. It'll be okay. I'll get it eventually. But yeah, I think they should be hard. I don't like the idea of nerfing them. I log on, especially on my Warlock, and I go, let's do a heroic, and you look in the queue and you're like, oh my god, that queue looks miserable. And then I go shoot to the guild. Who's on? Who can I play with? Who's about? Who'll help me? You know, who can I reach out to? And they'll come and make my life easier. And
no one
I
helps
think
you.
that fosters good relationships. You know, there's one person I don't reach out to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm guessing he's here.
Yeah, he's here. Yeah, he's here.
I think you bring up some good points there, Nulty. But one thing you said there was reach out to the guild, and this is actually something that I talked about in a lot of my videos, and I've gotten some really good feedback, and it was, so when you're saying that you want pre-nerf heroics, and I completely understand your take, right? If you have a guild, like I was saying at the beginning of TBC, running these heroics with the guild was a completely different experience for me. It was a great time. Running them now solo with pugs that are arguably, like most of these people I'm playing with, like some of these people just hit 70 now, you know, months in. And it's like maybe it's their first time playing TBC. I think Anniversary does have a large crowd of people where this is like somehow their first time ever playing Classic WoW. I've noticed. I don't know if they came from retail or what, but Blizzard did some kind of marketing where there's a lot of new players in TBC Anniversary. And I think that when you look at it in terms of playing with your guild, I agree with you 100%. But if you look at it from an alt perspective or someone who plays solo, which in my opinion, a lot of people do play solo, right? It is a completely different experience. And I think doing it solo, and I'm like a veteran player, you know, like I have no problem. I could do hard content. I could do whatever. I just think it's extremely unfun because my experience is as a solo going in with pugs, you know, I know what needs to be done or whatever. Maybe one other person does. We get X amount into a heroic, spend an hour, maybe down one boss, and you're like, oh my God, I got to just slog through this because I need the nether at the end. Like I'm going to pull these people through this. So then you wipe on the second boss and now someone leaves the group. And like now you're an hour and a half into a heroic dungeon in a 20-year-old game and you don't get to finish it. And that you know, it is my experience with it. I agree with you in terms of playing with the guild. It is fun to have to like CC and like know what you're doing. And like, you know, you feel good like when you can actually do it. But I play the game in two different ways, and I always have. I play, my main character, I always play with the guild, and then I just run alts, and I pug stuff. I always like to just run my own pugs. I used to like to run my own GDKPs. I'll never get to do that again. And that experience to me, I feel like my pug, like solo player experience in TBC sucks, whereas my guild experience is like 10 times better.
Bro, I got stuck in a
Rant
shadow
over.
holes for 6 hours the other day.
That's what I'm saying, dude. It's
I don't know what to tell
crazy.
you, man.
I love that.
It took me 5 hours. It took me 5 hours to get 15 badges. Okay, I was trying to get 15 badges. I don't remember what I was trying to get. Some kind of Libram or something. It took me 5 hours, dude. It's hard. Okay, it's people get home off work. They can do one heroic, then they go to bed. Okay, that's not one heroic. I know Mintzy's done 75 heroics in a day. Okay, but that's not the rest of it.
That's Mintzy though.
I don't.
Well,
get
so
it
go.
anymore, though.
Oh, sorry, Mintzy, go on.
No. Go to go. I've not done any of these dungeons in ages.
Yeah. The only reason I'm interested in what Go's going to say is because unless you've changed, Go, obviously I've known you for a long time, and you've always been quite openly what I would consider a solo player. You like to be able to do things on your own. You like to, you don't necessarily like relying on other people or guilds. So, like, how do you find the heroics?
I only had to do the heroics for like the first week, and I only have the one tune, so I don't know how it's gonna feel when I get my ult up to 70. But a lot of my guildies, my homies, have ults that could use the heroics. So like, I don't think I would pug them. I think I would go the route of playing with the boys and getting them done that way. But as a boomy, I think I tried to pug a couple of times, and it took a while, but people would invite me. I would just list myself and just wait. I would quest and like farm gold or whatever, and just hope that somebody would be like, "Hey, want to do this slave pins or whatever it was?" And like, I think I found groups, and I like being able to clone and do some CC and make it feel like I'm helping the group out and not just there casting Starfire. Like, I kind of like the CC aspect of the heroics, of how hard they hit the tanks and stuff, but I'm also at that point where I would love to just have prop pallies pull the entire room, gather it up, consecrate, and just AoE shit down and blow it the fuck up and get out of there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan of like
I want to meet the guy that invites boomies. Who's that guy? I'm guessing it was Jerome.
It would be a group. Yeah, it'd be a group with no other casters, and I don't know if they just couldn't find mages and warlocks or whatnot, but like, I would usually have like my loot that I would need. I would be able to roll on it, so it was sick.
Yeah.
So when you are making your own groups, Tello, just 1 second. Where, like, this is just to all of you. When you are making your own groups, just on that, are you would you invite a boomy? Tello, would you invite a boomy?
Yeah, sure. I wouldn't mind inviting a boomy at all, as long as they know how to click their buttons and play the game. I think every class is acceptable if they know how to play the game. Some people will surprise you. Like, I've had this talk with Kago where, Kago didn't like rogues, and I said, I'm like, bro, there's some rogues that are good, dude. I've had to do arena level stuff. Like I'm versing 1,800, 1,900 players. They're just NPCs in a heroic dungeon. I'm blinding, I'm gouging, I'm kicking, I'm doing a vanish, cheap shot, Garrote. I'm like, what am I doing? I have to save my tank. But then you look at the paladin tank with his spell cleave group, and then you cry in tears. So that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, sorry. And what was you going to say before that, anyway?
Oh, it was that. It was just that.
Oh, okay.
Like, it was perfectly added to that. So, but how do you feel, Pokey? How's it been in your groups?
Well, as you know, I being the enhanced shaman, I always basically have a spot anywhere. But I noticed when I would group with Hammer, if I dropped the group, we tested it, and I know he remembers from like 2 months ago when we were really testing it. Nobody wanted to bring a warrior, so that's like kind of the thing I wanted to talk about. So if we want to keep pre-nerf heroic on the table, it's kind of not fair to certain classes, right? Like you guys were just talking about boomies, how I wouldn't invite a boomie. A lot of people wouldn't invite warriors either unless there's an enhanced shaman buffing them.
After the fix of the armor bug, right? Like before that, everyone was like, whoa, melee is really good in TBC. Dude, I was doing 3k DPS at level 62 running dungeons. I was like, I don't remember this from last time. This is crazy good. But yeah, that wasn't real.
I'm not sure that's the case though, but it's not that nobody wants to take a warrior. It's that there's like 40,000 Fury warriors all just sitting there waiting for a group, and none of them will actually just like take the hit and tank.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on
You
that.
guys have 3 groups at all times.
Absolutely. I agree with you on that, Nulty. And warrior tanking in 5-man content, I'll be honest, it's terrible unless you're super geared. Like, it felt really bad to play. But now that I'm geared, I actually enjoy it a lot. It's like super engaging compared to like when I tank on my prop alley. But I do feel that there is this not everyone would be like Tello, and like he just said, I'll invite a boomkin, right? And I'll be completely honest with you. If I'm trying to just get something done quick, nope, I'm gonna take a mage, a warlock, a prop pally, and a resto druid, and just blast. Got to take an Ellie shaman too, make it even faster. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm guilty of that. I don't want to be that way, but I personally feel like when the content is like that, when very easily you could get stuck in a 2-hour heroic that you don't even finish, it kind of forces people to have a lot more of a min-max mentality and a lot more of a, selective mentality where other players do get left out. And I agree that it shouldn't be that way. I don't like that, which is why I'm always, someone who I constantly advocate for like a toggle, right? Let the casual players how they want. Put a toggle in that gives you something extra if you want to do hard content, and like call it a day. I know so many people are against that, but in my opinion, it's 2026. I don't see why, people can't, every single person should just be able to play the game at the difficulty that they want to play it at.
Well, I mean, even retail, I don't know how much you keep up to date with retail, but even Midnight's proving right now that easy content creates engagement and actually maximizes the amount of people that they have participating in all types of content.
Exactly.
Midnight, this season 1 is particularly, it's been particularly easy, and their numbers are showing that that's actually resonating well. So that's where TBC anniversary for me is just a little bit weird. Like, we've got easy raids and hard 5-mans when the 5-mans are more meant to be for the more casual player.
Yeah.
It just seems arse about face to me.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree with you, bro. I heard ahead of the curve for this Midnight is, by the way, the easiest ahead of the curve you could possibly get since all the other previous War Within seasons, by the way. I played with War Within Season 1 at the time, too, and it was really fun. I will say, though, I think the simple fact is this, and maybe you guys can agree with me or disagree, and curious on your take. I think when you look at, I'll just pick one dungeon in particular, Steam Vaults. 2 Myrmidons. I'm willing to bet my entire paycheck, wherever it is, I can't find it, but I'm willing to bet my entire paycheck that 2 Myrmidons from Heroic Steam Vaults are harder than every single thing that Karazhan, Gruul, and Mag have to offer.
Only if you take
Yeah,
mana.
I'd agree. Even as a tank, I've ran in and died immediately to him.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, when 2 Myrmidons from Steam Vaults, actually, the Boglord itself, the very first entrance of the dungeon to your right, the Boglord itself is harder than every piece of content in TBC, in the Outlands. Hell, it might be stronger than the World Boss. I have no idea at this point. That I've seen people get folded, and I have like close to 2k healing power on my H Valley right now. And I am fully bissed out on the character, and I've seen people get folded on that guy. And then I go to Karazhan, and Prince is just a tank and spank, and it's just an embarrassment. Nether Spite is just an embarrassment. People are double beaming now, for parsing. It's an embarrassment. It's like whatever. People double beam back in the day too. But the point is that when Heroic has 2 mobs in particular, or just 1 mob, and that is tougher than everything that TBC has to offer, who's the true boss here? Is it the Heroic ads or the ads? I might as well call them ads. But is it the Heroic ads, or is it Illidan eventually? Like who's the enemy? I don't know anymore, because at this point,
All of Fashion SSC is harder than any boss.
Yeah, that's exactly my point. It's like you're worried more about the trash because of the roots, the silences. You have to get making people, interrupt or, stun lock, whatever. But it's like, my God, I thought the boss was supposed to be the content, not the trash around it. It kind of is, like Scotty said, it's a little ass backwards. And that's how I feel too. I mean, I know Jerome was saying he was just in a 6-hour Shattered Halls. Absolutely not. I would not want to be in a 6-hour Shattered Halls, but I know Jerome was willing to stay in there for another 8 if he wanted to.
Into one if you want. You want to come to one?
Absolutely not, Jerome. I told you since when we did SOD, I will never join another one again.
Does
But
trash
you made a
respawn
point,
after a while?
Everything respawns after a while. In the end,
Yeah, isn't it like 2 hours
Yeah.
or something? It
Time
starts
is
to
a flat
respawn, so you
circle.
cleared it like 3 times.
just keep clearing and reinviting and restarting again. Sometimes you leave the group and make a new one and then bring them back in.
Did you
Oh,
make the Shattered Halls group, Jerome?
I make every group.
So what we're saying is you made a Tempest Keep, which is a raid that's not out yet, and you've done it quicker than Shattered Halls Heroic.
Go was clearly lying when he said it took 3 hours. That Tempest Keep took like 6 hours.
No, I think it was 4.
sorry,
I
the
couldn't remember
Heroic
if it was
took
3
about
or
the same
4.
amount of time.
Yeah. No, it was
Every boss
faster
took
than
like
that.
8 attempts.
Yeah.
I guess this is a really short raid.
If Jerome gets to spend 6 hours in Shattered Halls, he gets to order himself a big arch.
Yep.
That's the plan.
But anyway, so like we were saying, is everyone happy with the extra tier piece that we're getting from the bosses in the next
Really nice.
phase?
Yeah, I think you go in there and you're like, oh my god, there's so much loot. It feels a little bit like Season of Discovery. Somebody mentioned Season of Mastery. I don't remember if they increased loot there, but it feels good. Like it feels really good. You're like, wow, there's a lot of loot here.
How many bosses are in this next phase? Is it like 10 total between both raids?
11.
Or 11? Okay, so
7.
that's 11
It's
extra
7.
pieces of loot per week. That's a lot. That's a lot of extra loot.
The tier's never really the issue, right? Or maybe it isn't pugs. I don't know. But eventually, like nobody in my guild will even want tier.
Yeah.
So it'd be the other pieces I would sort of be like wanting, you know, your title charms, your DSTs.
Yep.
Well, there's
it's
some
more of a
bosses
alt
that
thing.
aren't dropping tier that are dropping extra pieces as well. So it's not
Yeah,
like
I've
it's
seen that. Yeah.
tier, but mostly. If the boss drops
Yeah, that's
tier.
where I thought it was strange with Gruul, Mintzy.
Yeah.
Is the fact that Gruul's dropping an extra tier token rather than an extra item when it's the items that come from Gruul that people want more than the tier, especially as the expansion goes on.
The tier's like useless now. All right, like at this point, I feel like the tier is useless. If you've been like this unlucky, that's like super unfortunate.
Dude, we have
This is, like,
shamans in our raid, Mintzy, that don't even have 2-piece yet. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't have 2-piece yet. I need shoulders still, yeah.
Crazy.
that
You were in the
one piece is
fucking
rough enough
woods,
to get,
go.
Yeah.
That's not Blizzard's fault though.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this. In fairness, I think we all know this too. Majority of the phase 1 tier sucks anyways. Like, be
is
frank, it's really bad. It's not like for Paladin, you get like 20 more for a Judgment of Light. Like, who cares? No one cares about that. Like, it's a lot of the sets for most people are kind of irrelevant. Phase 2 and then onwards, that's when the tier really matters. So, like, I think the +1, because how much more P2 and onward gear set bonus, that matters. Like, that set bonus is really what makes you show the representation in your logs, in your, details, whatever you use. And I think those pieces are better. So I agree with you guys. I don't care more about the phase 1 tier. I think it's more for alts. I think they did it because people have more alts than ever, and they have the data saying that, okay, we have a lot of people alt logging. So maybe they just wanted to do that, and they saw something on their end that made sense to them, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's a big W, no matter how you slice it. I think it's good. And I completely agree with the post-nerf decision for the raids as well.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Well, let's move on. We've got half hour. We're going to go on to basically TK SSC, and again, it'd be nice if we start with a bit of a pre-nerf and post-nerf discussion. And again, just be honest. Voice your opinion. If you think pre-nerf would be better, why do you think it would be better? If you want post-nerf, why do you think it would be better? We've seen post-nerf now. I've got my thoughts, but I want to hand over to you first. So I'll go with someone I at least know was doing the PTR at the weekend. Mintzy, go on. Just overall thoughts.
I mean, it was like easy. Although, like, I don't know. I feel like that just gets boring for people. I do see, like, for the first few weeks when, like, the gear isn't that, like, big. Like, right now the gear difference we have is, like, AQ to Nax, basically. Like, there's not, like, that much. Like, some Nax pieces are so close to, like, the pieces that you have on your, like, warrior specifically right now. Like, it's not that big of a deal from what we had in Classic the last phase. But once you start getting into, like, the Tier 5 gear, it's kind of a lot. But I think, like, it would be more fun if they had GDKPs back, I'll be honest, in a post-nerf world. Because then it could just be, like, a little playground, little testing. But I don't know if they'd ever bring them back.
Never.
Because if they brought GDKPs back, it'd be a nice little token that, like, oh, maybe they'll bring them back for Classic Plus. But I don't know. I enjoyed my time. I saw where it's puggable still, though. But, like, week 2, it'll be on farm for pugs even. That's like, my opinion.
Next.
I feel like all
Anyone?
the old raids are going to have a lot of longevity through the next phase, and people are going to, their guilds are going to still want them to do Gruul and Mag and Karazhan. So then now you're adding 2 new raids on top of it, and I don't want to have to raid 4 nights a week to clear all the raids. I'd rather get it done in 2 nights and have it post nerf and have it
Yeah.
easier off the rip instead of having to prog through it again. I've already progged it. I don't want to prog it. I want to go in there and chill, have a couple drinks. And get some loot. So yeah, keep it post nerf. I love that decision.
Yeah, I didn't get it to go in this time around. Like I said, I was busy over the weekend, but I agree with what Go just said. Like, to me, you know, a lot of the older raids are still relevant. Like, people are still going to be running Gruul for DST, right? And you know, Kara and all that stuff. There's some off pieces that a lot of classes do need. So to keep it post nerf and make it quicker, right? This is, to me, TBC anniversary is kind of just, it's the 3rd TBC. And it should just be kind of like a fun time, like celebration of TBC, and how, like, TBC is my favorite expansion for WoW. And just kind of celebrating how fun it is and all the content. And I think post nerf, in my opinion, is definitely the decision for all of this stuff.
I just find it so strange. We're going to move on to NoHitJerome, and I think NoHitJerome, sorry, we'll go back to you in a sec, Go, but it's so wildly different to TBC Classic the last time round.
Yeah.
Where the majority would be saying they want pre-nerf, and now everyone's kind of over it and just like, yeah. We just want post-nerf. You know, don't want to challenge. Again, I'm gonna. I've said openly on videos. I've said it today. I think post-nerf's the right thing to do, purely based on, if they are going to try and rush through TBC because a Classic Plus is imminent, then who wants to be banging their head against the wall in a game version that we're probably not going to be playing in the distant future, you know?
Yeah, that's a really good point,
sorry,
Scotty.
What was you going to say?
I think pre-nerf made sense back in the day because people were more focused on their parses and stuff and trying to maximize their character's potential. And now we know what our characters can do. We just did it a few years ago. So the parses don't really matter as much. I'm still a parse whore, but yeah, make it easier, and I have to worry about my parse less.
Yeah, I'd agree too. I would also say, to add on to what Go and Hammer said, going into the raids as pre-nerf, trying to go in like as an alt per se, you know, that could be very, very tricky and challenging. So it kind of keeps it more raid logs probably will happen too, right? Being post nerf over pre nerf, I would imagine. So I think keeping it at like and plus the player base this time is definitely different. I don't know if any of you have experienced that in pugs and stuff, but player base between now and 2021 TBC, definitely different. I don't know if GDKP's had a hand in that. I don't know what, but it just feels like the player base is a lot different. They play a lot different for sure. Maybe the boosting being an infinite purchasable thing on Blizzard's end in the Blizzard shop. That could also probably have a hand in that. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Tello?
I think I'm gonna add all your guys' points and mostly, like, you know, Mintzy's pug point, Nolty's point on like enjoying the hard style of the raid as well. And I kind of want to throw Jerome's like side of, like, you know, how he pugs a lot of, you know, different people. Like, sometimes you don't have the ultimate comp, and that is like really the truth that outside of us as content creators, we have to understand. Not every pug runs the most 100% perfect comp. That's something that, like, is not always the normal thing, you know? Like, yes, it is great to bring in, you know, the multiple casters, the ones that are very important classes you need to bring in to have a perfect raid with no issues, and you're in and out of there maybe 3-4 hours max. But realistically, if you don't bring that comp, you're going through a lot of wipes, you're going through a lot of consumes. Yes, it is post nerf, but people are going to die to more of the trash, like we just discussed, more than the bosses themselves, probably, more than likely. Unless, you know, melee is just not watching out for certain key abilities, such as like Leo Whirlwind, or, you know, the poison on the ground from Bosch, and, you know, CCs, or not focusing mobs that need to be killed, need to be, you know, interrupted. And I think that's the key thing. And in my opinion, I think post nerf, it is the right decision. I think it's based on the element of the fact that, and I've had this conversation with Solheim too, where I was like, I think it's mainly due to the fact why I always say faster cadence is because BlizzCon is around the corner. If BlizzCon was not around the corner, this entire conversation for all of us, and I think you guys know this is true as well, would be 100% different, because now you're looking at, okay, maybe pre-nerf's not a bad idea because it's a longer TBC, and TBCs get to stick around. And then if they had the gall, or I want to say this word, the cojones, to basically say they're going to do an era for TBC, then 100% I would say do pre-nerf, because now the content is challenging. It's going to last a long time. You know your character is always going to be here forever, and you could do all the content like you do on Classic WoW as it is right now, and the content's already there forever. People are playing as we speak. Maybe a very small player base, but they're doing it. So I think post-nerf is the right decision. And you also have to account a big thing that maybe we didn't really discuss much is consumables. I think consumables are going to go up in price a lot come next phase. You're going to see a lot more people using flasks more than just traditional elixirs. If they're not trying to parcel all the way, they're just trying to, use those flasks to stay within a certain time range to get in and get out. So I think there's two ways of looking at it. I think one will be an awakening for people, and it might either be rude or good depending on the comp that they go with into the scene overall. But I know all of us in here are gamers. We'll clear the raid. You already cleared the raid on the PTR. You're looking forward to clearing it again. But that's just my 2 cents with everything. But what about you, Jerome? What do you think?
That's exactly what I was just about to say. Because was you post-nerf or pre-nerf? What side of the fence was you on in TBC Classic, like the first time round?
I still think that they should have done pre-nerf Karazhan. I know it's like it would be really hard for a lot of people, but I think it was a real sense of progression where it's like, okay, you can't kill Nightbane for like a month, but it's like you get there eventually, even if you're not like the best player. I think that would have been really fun, but they went a different direction. Phase 2 had to be post-nerf. It had to be, because there's just so many people would never have cleared any of it, or at least never have cleared the hardest bosses. It took even like above average players, a lot of them, it took them like 8-10 weeks to kill KT back in 2021. So now it's like there's going to be only one boss people are going to get stuck on. I would bet 30% of the player base, they're going to be stuck on Vash the first week. They're not going to kill it. So that's not actually that crazy. I mean, I think that the Mintzys of the world will feel proud that they've been able to do it, and they've been able to crush it on multiple characters, and the rest of us will be stuck, and it'll feel as good as it could, really.
McNulty?
I think once the decision for post-nerf was made at the start of the game, that was the end of the conversation. There was no way that the player base could get used to raids as easy as tier 4 and then jump up. It was kind of similar to we were doing 10-man raids in SOD, and they went, oh, by the way, now we're doing 20. It was like the whole player base just freaked out. Like, what? No, we can't do that. That was a mistake. I think pre-nerf would have been a mistake this time around. I would have just preferred it to be pre-nerf from the start. And my main reason for that is it upsets me that we don't do things right. My guild's really good. We have never killed Mulgar properly to this day. I think Scott's probably died of Mulgar pre-nerf or post-nerf more than he would have a pre-nerf, because we don't care. It's like, hit it. It'll die. Okay, cool. Same with Grull. Like, nobody cares to do it right. And that's where I have issues with a lot of these raids. One of the harder bosses that we had on the PTR was the Murloc boss. What's his name? Morgrim Tidewalker. Most of the time we wasted on that was like just trying to figure out which way we should do it. If it was pre-nerf, the tactics wouldn't have really changed. But now we're thinking, why aren't we one-tanking it? And we can drop loads of healers, and we can not even tank the Murlocs. We could just blow them up. And that stuff's fun when you have gear. But when you go into the raid for the first time ever, especially a lot of players in my guild will be there for the first time ever, they're like, who was even ever worried about any of these bosses? And they just don't understand. And they don't get it. They don't understand how fun it was to like talk with the boys about the 3 tanks sorting things out. Or spending an hour talking about TK, the last boss of Tempest Keep, because it's so there's so much of the small details get lost in pre-nerf. I actually haven't done Kel'Thas this time, and I know it's just going to be an AoE fest. You know,
it is.
But what I will say is, Scott said the raids being easy and the heroics being asked about face doesn't make sense, but that does make sense to me, because Classic, the raids are easy. They've got loads of players in them, but they're easy. And the 5-mans, you do a Verdant Strath on them from start to finish, even with a random group. It can be very tough. There's lots of stuff, proper pulls you need to do. There's ninja pulls that happen. Very reminiscent to heroics and TBC. And when it comes to developing a player base for Classic Plus, I think the way they're doing TBC now is actually right. Like, you make the raids easy, you get everyone through the raids as a big group, big guilds. You do that, and then the heroics and the 5-mans they're not hard. Like, heroics aren't hard, but they're awkward. You know, like, you have to CC. You don't have this Wrath style of playing the game of just running through the raid. You have to stop and talk to your boys. Mage, can you do a sheep? You know, Boomy, can you actually cyclone? Do you have roots, Boomy? Have you ever pressed your root button? You know, so
Let me root indoors, please.
that should be in
I
Classic Club.
wish. Oh
But
yeah.
they are grooming us the right way, in my opinion.
They started
Even
that
if I
in
disagree
SOD
with
too,
the TBC player.
right? They started that in SOD with the 2 dungeons. We had obviously the Karazhan Crypts dungeon, right? When that first dropped, it was not easy. And what was the other one? It was the one in Ashenvale. I forget what the name of it was at this point.
Well, I
but
thought it was easy, but like
Demonfall Canyon.
Demonfall Canyon.
Next year in Kara was crazy. Like,
Yeah.
people needed that.
Yeah, exactly.
I
And
love
like,
Karazhan Crypt.
yeah,
It was a great dungeon.
and it kind of goes in line with what you're saying, Nulty. Maybe that is the plan going forward, right? Where they want like 5-man content to kind of be like the focus up and like play with your boys and like use CC and do this and do that, which I could see and I could definitely enjoy it. And I would actually say that I am all for that type of content, and I will enjoy it even more when it's something new. You know what I'm trying to say? I think for me, the reason why I'm more into like the post nerf stuff is because I've already done this. You know, everyone here has already done this so many times.
Yeah, that's fair, and yeah, absolutely everything you said makes sense. No, you know, if that was a design philosophy that they were sort of going along with, and that who knows, that may be the intention. And when it says the phase 3 loot changes will change, you know, in phase 3 with heroic dungeons, maybe they look at it and know that even compared to SSC and TK, 5-mans are still a challenge, and maybe they actually start adding. They don't change them, they don't do alpha, beta, gamma, none of that, but they might put some tier 5 tokens or tier 4 tokens or whatever just in the heroics, just to encourage people to do them, because they know actually it's just as time consuming to go and do Arcatraz as it is to do half of Karazhan. You know, that could be the direction they're going in. Obviously, they don't talk to us, so how will we know?
That's true.
Okay, I just want to touch on something. Oh, go on, Mintz. I feel like every time you go to talk, I talk over you every time, and it's annoying me.
Oh, that's good.
What was you going to say?
That's just how it's been the whole time since the beginning of like the launch of the classic version. Like, that hasn't changed its tone. I'll say that. Like the lack of communication. It's been like that since the beginning, and it's just never changed.
It feels
for sure.
Like
for sure.
Yeah.
This'll do.
It feels AI. I'll say it. It feels like it's AI.
Yeah.
They got rid of their one like developer and just replaced them with a PC.
Yeah,
replaced it with an Alexa.
His name's Sam the robot. Sam the robot.
I don't think that's true, Tello, because I reckon the RAM would cost more than they would pay the guy.
Oh, true. Yeah. Well, God forbid if they look at storage prices.
So what was your thoughts on difficulty overall? Because I'll be completely honest, and this might not be something that you'd expect me to say if you have any idea of my raiding history. I was actually surprised. I was expecting to go in with it being post-nerf, and I just thought we was going to absolutely face roll all of it. And we didn't, because like Nolty said, I was raiding with him, and I'd say, without exaggerating, at least 50% of the raid group hadn't done it before. You know, I think saying like half the raid is probably pretty fair. But I was thinking post nerf, half the raid knows what they're doing. We're just literally just going to face roll through it. And that weren't the case, which is what actually made me change my mind and think post nerf probably is the right way. Because if we had half a raid that knew what they was doing, and it still took us, 5 hours to get to Vash or something like that. I mean, 90% of our wipes are on trash. Like, seriously, like bosses, you know, might have had one wipe on Lurker, maybe a wipe or two on Leo. Morrigan took a good 5 or 6. Yeah, because like every single boss, we basically tried to use multiple tanks. I said, I know, I've got an idea. Let's just solo tank it, and then it worked. But like, I think I was quite surprised at how long it took just to do SSC. What were your thoughts? I mean, Jerome, you was in there long enough. Surely you've got some.
Here's the reality. This is going to be a 2-night raid for pretty much most guilds. It's going to take way longer than people think, and that's just the reality. It's going to be long. It's going to be time consuming. And also, I would like to shout out my guild who did not show up for PTR as they're disbanding and leaving me. None of them came, so they will not know how to do the fights, and it will be even longer and worse than ever before. So thank you to everyone who didn't come. Thank you, even though I asked you so many times.
I think Jerome's recruiting, lads. Just if you need a guild on American servers, hit up Jerome. He might need
Please
a few
help,
guys.
Dude.
Can you raid lead? Do you have a warm
second,
pulse?
boss.
Anything? I don't care. I need help, please, God.
But I think my point is more like the people that have not gone on the PTR and, you know, are crying on Reddit or, you know, on forums, Discord, whatever, being like, oh my God, post nerf, you know, is a mistake. I think the majority of the player base are going to be quite surprised. I think they're going to go in there with their guild for the first night thinking, oh, it's post nerf. Like we've done post nerf Kara. That was easy. You know, thinking it's going to be face roll. And they're not going to fall clear in one night. You know, like Jerome said, you know, realistically, it's going to be a night for SSC and a night for TK, certainly for at least the first reset. I mean, Perry, what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, like I said, I didn't do the PTR, but just going based off of what you guys have been saying and stuff I saw today on YouTube, it does seem like it's going to take, it'll definitely be a 2-day thing, you know, and also just to point out, like Hammer said before, with the DST drops and everything that people are trying to get from the old raids, you're going to have to try and schedule in some time to do that stuff too if you haven't gotten your DST or your Spike Blade or whatever you're trying to go for, right? Maybe not so much Spike Blade, but DST for sure. And I think people are going to have to definitely get their time managed a lot better. If you're thinking, you're only going to have 2 nights to raid, that might not cut it for a lot of guilds. I mean, maybe in the first couple weeks, but as time progresses, it'll probably get a little bit easier and quicker, you know?
I never understood the attitude of always finishing the raid. It's okay if you don't finish the raid and you're allocated raid time. You'll get better next week and you'll shorten the time down. Yeah. You know, in our guild specifically, we spent a lot of time in trash because we didn't respect it at all. Like 30 seconds in, Scott was like, "Tanks, go away." We had no respect for it. You know, when you take your time and you learn to do these things, the time crunch goes down.
Yeah.
Especially if you can get yourself a consistent group. But I never understood why people think, you know, if you raid 6 hours and you don't have time to fit Grull in, it's okay to miss the reset. It's not a big deal, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean,
I get that. I get that, but I'll let go first. You can go first real quick.
What sucks is they have the best loot on the last 2 bosses. So if you don't kill Vash or KT, then I feel like you just get that much further behind than the other guilds that got to clear it. Like it's 10 eye level. I know eye level in TBC is kind of fucked. It doesn't really represent gear value properly. But yeah, it's like 138 eye level from the last 2 bosses, 128 from all the other bosses. So yeah, you miss out on killing that last boss. It really fucking hurts. And they put BIS weapons on the last bosses, which weapon item upgrades are usually like one of your biggest DPS upgrades. So yeah, missing out on that loot, it feels bad. It stings.
Yeah. You kind of nailed it, Nelty, with saying that like you never understand the mentality of like it's okay to not finish the raid. And I think that you're right about that, but it is it's just like a new school way of thinking, right? And I think it's the same mentality of like back in the day, not everyone got BIS, right? Not everyone got their DST or was full BIS going into the next phase. And that's like something that we've seen from 2019 rolling. And I think that actually originated on private servers, like that mentality. And like, you know, you have to be like full BIS moving into the next phase. Like that's like this mindset that everyone's in now. And I do think that I did see that mindset kind of shift off of that slightly in Season of Discovery, you know? And I think that's because a lot of the content was new, right? Like we didn't clear Scarlet Enclave the first week. I was with Jerome. That was a really wild time that we had.
We don't have to bring up the Scarlet Enclave where we spent 6 hours and never killed the first boss.
Yeah, that was wild. It was a wild time. Yeah, it was insane.
Defense, it was hard, okay? And we brought like 20 rep paladins, so
Yeah.
It was the
And
first
they
boss
didn't
got
do it.
fun.
It was
They
it
didn't do
was
bad on the first boss.
Yeah, it was definitely a demon
was
run,
sorry.
but you know what? It didn't feel as bad, like I'm saying, because it was new content, you know? And I think
It
that
actually felt worse, I think.
for me, it didn't. I think for me, the mindset of needing full bis and like needing to finish the raid in one night, it comes from, like I said before, just having done this so many times and knowing what your character is going to feel like when you do get the DST and all that. Like, I think a lot of that actually will eventually kind of subside once we're in like a Classic Plus environment, hopefully.
Ebonheart was in that raid, and that's the last time I ever saw him play WoW. And that was like a year ago.
It's true.
He had a thunderstorm. Remember?
Yeah, he had after the 100th pull of Balnazar, he had a thunderstorm and had a log
Yeah,
off.
never see him again.
Wow.
I will never
do
forget
remember
that. He was our tank, remember?
Yeah,
Yeah, he was our tank. Oh
that
my
was
God.
crazy. Oh yeah, everyone, all of us were there.
All of us
I-
were there.
I wanted to say, to add to that though, like I think, to add to Nolty's point though, I 100% agree. Like I think the overall dichotomy of the player from vanilla WoW, and you can even say as far as like just players in general from the early 2000s to who we are now, 2026. That's a 20-year gap, guys. The concept of like Blizzard. I know, I don't want to say that. I know we're getting older, boys. Don't look in the mirror, but we are getting older. So get a couple shots out for sure. I know Scotty probably has, but I will say, I think it's just, we have gotten to the point where a lot of things have changed, and I watched a very good interview that Ian did when he was talking about the overall change of players, and he had like this massive sheet out comparing this to different games and like how players change their mind through time. And like it was just this constant timeline of like through patch updates, each and every version of the patch update from vanilla to all the way to War Within. And he was just going about how players' minds change over time, and usually when players feel like there is a meta, even with developer involvement and like developers reaching into the basket to change certain things, to change elements of certain abilities or whatever or whatnot, things usually change over time where players figure out that, oh, like what Nulty was saying, maybe you don't need to clear the raid all the time, but eventually when those raids do get clear, that bar changes and then it levels out, and then a new expansion comes out and it goes a whole 180, and now everybody's yelling again, because I think time is needed. It's the ultimate friend of World of Warcraft, where every class eventually will ascend to a certain point. Some classes are more lackluster than others. Of course, we all know this through every end of a version of an expansion that happens, via warriors and vanilla. You look at mages, arcane mages, even hunters later on in TBC are going to become disgusting. Both versions of hunters, beast mastery, and I believe it's survival, right? They are going to be ascending to the top of the charts. Warlocks too are always going to be notoriously amazing, but the classes kind of tighten up, and you can bring a lot of these classes to your runs, to your raids. And I do think that you don't always need the loot, and I 100% understand that. I just think it has to do a lot with how the player's mindset has changed from also a lot of people coming into TBC spoiled from Season of Discovery. You have to think about that as well, where Season of Discovery really made you feel like you had, a lot of skill. And I'm not saying that a lot of players coming to the TBC are skillless, but you have to think you're coming in from Naxxramas during a Season of Discovery where you were doing millions of damage, and then out of nowhere they drop you an actual raid, Scarlet Enclave, which if SOD was continuing and it was just Scarlet Enclave with no changes, I would have loved the shit out of that raid way more, because I like the fact Beatrix was hard. I like the fact that when you went in that arena pit with the dragon, it felt like I was Russell Crowe out of Gladiator, and I was like fighting like this beast for the first time, and I'm just getting dropped bombs on my head from Vietnam. It was amazing. I loved it. I actually enjoyed the process. The process, I think all of us as players that love challenge, that's what excites us. But unfortunately, once again, I think it's because the way the players' minds have changed from this being the third TBC. I don't think we can get to that point again unless the hard content is fun, aka Karazhan Crypts was kind of hard content, probably the hardest dungeon that SOD had to offer, but it was a fun dungeon. And I think there's that conversation where hard meets fun is the ultimate goal I hope to see eventually, even when Classic Plus is a thing. So that's all I gotta say.
I think new needs to be thrown in there as well.
new
You
as
know,
well.
hard,
New.
fun,
Yes,
and
new.
new. I think they're the
Yes.
key things. Like, you know, if they was to say, "All right, you know, for phase 2, we're gonna launch Gruul, but it's got 50% more health, does 50% more damage." You know, they've added a mechanic to it. It's still Gruul.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, whereas, yeah, the beauty about Season of Discovery, even from phase 1 all the way to the end, was the fact that it was new. You're working
Yeah.
new things out. You might not necessarily get full bis. It meant less because you didn't know any better.
Exactly.
You know, that's ultimately what it comes down to. We know so much about TBC because it's the third time round. We expect to be able to kill all the bosses week 1. We expect to be able to get all the loot before the next phase.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't we?
Exactly.
We know the entire roadmap.
Yeah, the homework's there, and you're absolutely right. Like when you have the homework, and it's like if a teacher gave you guys a test, but then all your buddies was like, "Yo, we just got this. We got the insider notes like a week before. Like we're good. We're all gonna get 100% on it next week." Like, yeah, maybe one person might get a 98 or a 99, but who cares? You're all passing the test. All this homework is already, filled out. The notes are there. The PTR is out now from what all you guys have done already. So it's like at this point, it's just get in there and clear it up and wait for phase 3. Realistically, I'm being honest,
All right. Well, we've got literally 5 minutes, and then we're actually going to finish on time for the first one, which is going to be lovely. Anyone got anything else about TKSSC from the PTR the weekend? Anything to add?
The only thing I would add is I wish that Blizzard had a way to reward people going into raids instead of making different difficulties, like having a toggle switch for hard mode or non-hard mode or pre-nerf, post-nerf. If you went into like SSC or TK, for example, and you cleared it in only heroic gear, then you would get a bonus. Like let the players make the raids harder themselves. Like don't wait for Blizzard to make different difficulties. Like the players can sandbox ideas. And that was like a thing in what was it, the heroics in MOP or something, right? Like you were eye level capped to get like gold challenge mode or something, right? So like have some sort of reward system kind of like that, steal it from MOP and implement it in TBC somehow. Like I'd love to see the people that are begging for pre-nerf go in there with heroic loot and try to clear the raids or something like that.
Yeah.
I'd do that. Yeah, that'd be great.
I think
But
people
without a
should be
reward, I
also
don't
their
think anybody would do it.
Yeah, there needs
no
to be a
consumes and
reward.
heroic loot.
I think the problem is, it will be the problem for me until we get to BlizzCon, is how much effort do we even want them putting in at the moment? You know, when we know that they're working on something else, we hope that it's going to basically be the answer to what we all want to play in the future. You know, how much does it really need? Like, I think they've just basically got TBC on simmer. Just, you know, keep putting out bare minimum, just get it through, because they know that they're gonna like blow everyone's socks off in, I don't know, 4 or 5 months time. Just
And I will say, I don't think I saw any bugs on the PTR. Did anybody experience bosses with bugged mechanics or anything? The only thing I think I saw was like Lurker didn't really like do its jump out of the water animation. He was just kind of like, boom, hey guys, I'm here. Like, go ahead and fight me. But I didn't see any bugs in Tempest Keep.
How long was the RP in TK,
Alar?
by the way?
A weird thing about
like
TK,
before.
I just want to say about KT, is actually weird with the post nerf because the fight is so fast, you get no downtime at all, and it's actually like a very different feeling fight. It's kind of weird. It's like so fast, and it actually kind of makes it harder in a way because you don't have any breaks at all. Which
yeah, and we
sounds like a
did
healer
have
problem.
Alar bugged as well. I would say Alar didn't do melt armor once.
oh, he did it to us a
What was
ton.
melt-
He kept wiping.
What
That's
was the melt armor?
The tank debuff.
tank
That
breaker.
seemed-
Just
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
in ours it was just queued and it just never ever done it, which was weird. But cool. All right. Well, look, just really quick. If everyone's happy, as I say, we get out of here on time. We'll reconvene next Monday, same time. We'll sort out who's obviously going to be back on for next week. Any final thoughts at all? Just anything. Otherwise, we'll just go round. You can all shout out where people can find you. Obviously, I'll put the links in the description for all of your channels, as whatever you post, I'm sure you'll do the same for everybody else. Nothing. Nothing. Cool.
All good.
No, I think I'm good.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, that's it. Yeah. We'll see everyone next week. Thanks for watching.
GG's, boys.
GG's.
Hey, thanks, Scott, for putting it together, man.
It's all right. I've ended the recording now.
His name's Scott. I always thought it was Scotty.
You can call me whatever you want. Call me darling.
Well,
Call me Frank if it makes you